This one is from Bill in Indiana. He says, I am surprised that you rated February 4th through 10th, 2018 so high. It's it's like number 2 on my dad's 5 best weeks to visit Walt Disney World. Mostly because February 7th through 12th of 2018 is when the Cheerleader Nationals is going on. Did you take that into consideration when you rated these? He says, laugh a lot. Because my family is actually going that week, and it was a nightmare to actually get rooms at the value resorts. We wanted standard rooms, but we ended up having to get preferred rooms because they were the only rooms available. Thanks. Bill, while I didn't specifically look at the Cheerleader Nationals, I look at the historical crowd patterns when I pick those best weeks to go. And historically, that is a really nice, slow time to go. I also look at the events, the weather, everything going on around at that time. The new art show was actually the Festival of the Arts. That's what it was. Festival of the Arts at Epcot was going on that week, and it's been announced that it'll be back this year. So you've got the Festival of the Arts, you've got low crowds. If you look at our crowds page, our dad's February crowds page, Stephanie will put the link down in the comments, you'll see that that's in my opinion, and this is what historically has happened, that's a fairly slow time to go. Now, let's talk about competitions. Competitions don't impact the park crowds for the most part, especially early part of the competitions. So competitions, when teens go to compete at competitions, that's what they spend most of their time working on, is practicing, is going to the competitions. So watching the competitions, they don't spend the majority of their time in the parks. So even though the value resorts are packed to the gills, the same thing happens with Pop Warner weeks. Even though the value resorts are packed to the gills, the parks aren't. There really is usually a pretty good time to visit the parks because there just really aren't. The competition people are at the competitions. And also, if you filled every room in the value resorts, let's see, 28, 16, you'd be talking about 20,000 people, which is still a lot of people. It just isn't. It just, we're going to talk about this again in a minute, but the value resorts themselves, you could fill them up and you still wouldn't have large crowds at Disney World. You have to fill all the hotels up and offsite hotels too. So, yes, it might have been hard to get a room at the value resorts, but that does not mean that the crowds in the parks are going to be crazy. It's getting to where it's always hard to get a room in the value resorts, especially those standard rooms for the most part. Actually, the easiest time this year to get a room in a value resort, a standard room, was the summertime, which was kind of crazy. But that's just the way it worked out this year. So the bottom line, Dad's bottom line is, yes, I didn't specifically take the cheerleader competitions into consideration, but I did look at historic crowds, and the first week, that week of February, is a really good week to go crowd-wise. So, hope that helps.